Welcome to Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. And so has, wow. I am very, very honored to be in this space. I'm honored to be sharing space with you. The owner and founder of Military Classified and sexual healer, Rob Navarro. Rob, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Absolutely.
No, I'm happy to talk.
I do a lot of live Q&As on through the podcast on YouTube and stuff. And I always ask, who do you want to hear from? Who do you want to hear from? And people were like, do you know Rob from Military Classified? And I looked you up really quick and I was like, oh, I've totally seen these videos. And then I was like, sure, I'll reach out to him. And I reached out to you about a year ago.
Yeah.
We're still like strong into the pandemic, but I reached out and I wanted to see if it was possible. All I need is a yes, and I'll find a way.
So you're persistent, and that's a compliment.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
It is.
So how are you?
I'm good. Just trying to get past the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when everything hit the fan in March, I stopped shooting, and I didn't shoot the rest of the year. So I went down to one release, and then I had a bright idea to re-release my old movies in HD form and in a special special Rob's cut, I call it. So it's a special edited version, my version, which is longer. So if you're more obsessed with the guy, then you want to get his movie, his longer movie.
That was a process, probably, right? Because you've been around since before HD, and that's a compliment because
I got like 600 movies that are standard definition.
Did you make them all HD or
we're making them? It's been a 1.5 year long process.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're doing it. I think we'll be done by August of this year.
Okay.
And then we'll get back on the regular schedule, I think, hopefully in the fall or, right at the beginning of 2023. And we'll be back up to 2 new releases per week. And I'll be shooting more consistently.
It's so interesting to be in the space. Yeah. It is. It really is, because you see it. And I've done a couple with a couple of directors or studios, and they let me into their space, and I appreciate it. But
it's interesting that they let you into their space.
Yeah,
because they won't let me into their space.
Really? Yeah, they're probably like, So you've had quite a career before Military Classified.
It's an interesting life. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a really, really good podcast that's out there that somebody did about 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. You recommended that I listen to it, and I did. Yeah. And it was very informative. Yeah. Although I did know a couple of things beforehand. And I didn't know how out and open you were about it, but the Christian band.
Oh, that. Yeah.
So you had a career in Christian rock music.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I think with anything, if you're passionate about it, and everything that I did, I always kind of went and put my 100%. I always did it. So at that time, I was actually a Christian. And I'm not saying that I'm not a Christian now, because there's lots of things that I think I still believe in, but I think it comes from a more well-rounded perspective, as opposed to kind of the narrow perspective that I got from one church. Mm-hmm. So that kind of made me become more realistic about life and about things and how you view religion and how it plays a part in your life. So it's very different than when it was back then. So back then I was so dedicated to it that I just wanted to be the best. So I've always been a songwriter. And I had an experience that was life-changing for me. I contracted a disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a muscle weakening disease, leads to the lungs, it can kill you, et cetera. There's no cure. So, and I was like 18, so I was a young guy. And I was in bed thinking I'm going to die, but I was miraculously cured, I think, because I woke up the next day from this progression, and all of a sudden the disease began reversing itself. It wasn't like instantaneous, but it was in a retraction. So in other words, it had gotten to the point where it kind of made me paralyzed. But my fear was it can also go to the muscles of your organs and, prevent you from breathing. That kind of thing. So it never got to that. And then from there, it cured itself. So, and I wrote about it in the song that was a song that became a number one. No, it was a top 20. Excuse me, not number one. I came out when Amy Grant was out, so she was
dominating.
She dominated the market. She was like Madonna, for Christian music. And I had 3 top 20 hits off of one album. In LA, I was number one, the LA market. So I did that for a number of years.
And you were on Billboard. You were charting on Billboard.
Well,
too, right?
yes.
Yeah.
The Christian charts on Billboard. Yeah, absolutely. Top 20. I was I think top 5 for He'll Keep You Faithful. Road to Salvation was 15, I think, and the other one was 12.
Wow.
So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I started touring. I went to Australia. I went to South Africa.
Wow.
So yeah, it opened a lot of doors, and I was self-promoting myself at that time. I opened the record label myself with my boyfriend at the time, the husband.
Really married?
Well, no, we weren't married. I called them back then. You called them husbands.
Okay. Yeah. Oh well, yeah. If it was longer than a month, right?
Yeah, it was. Oh, it was. It was years, and he became kind of like my promoter. He believed in the music I was doing at the time, and he believed in me as an artist, and he wanted to.
Like, there are little tidbits in that interview where I thought it was amazing, because you went into the studios and you were like, you got to play this, you got to play my record, you got to play it, you got to play it. So that tenacity and getting in there yourself and promoting it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's almost like you take on a different persona when you call, because you're calling as a record promoter about an artist who is yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're talking to the program director at the radio station, trying to convince him to play the song. And it's interesting that, they'll say, well, he's got a good voice, but,
trust me, you're going to love him. You're talking about yourself.
Exactly.
Was that around the same time as the Heritage Singers?
No, actually, that was post-Heritage Singers.
Oh, okay. So this is after that.
Singers was for like 4 years, right when I got out of college. I was like 22 when I did that.
All right. So then you were part of the Heritage Singers, and then you went solo.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's when you had your bigger songs on the billboards.
Yep.
You also, one thing that the voiceover work.
Oh. Yeah.
When I heard some of the voiceovers, I was like, I've totally heard his voice before.
Have
like,
you really? That's so funny.
You have to have. Like that was what, mid-90s, late 90s? If they went national.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, then absolutely.
I was the voice of Ronald McDonald.
Yes, I know. And I think that's amazing, because when I was a kid, I remember I grew up in this town called West New York, New Jersey. Yeah. It was predominantly Latin.
Yeah.
And I remember going to an event and Ronald McDonald was going to be there. And he spoke in Spanish, and it blew my mind. I was like, cool. What? So when you said that, I was like, oh my God, that's bringing me back.
They did a casting of it. They must have seen like 500 guys, because they were initially going to hire one person that was going to be like the Spanish Ronald McDonald persona.
Like, yeah, just everywhere.
He's the one
the mascot.
Exactly,
like, right? Okay.
Kind of. Not red hair, but black hair, blah, blah, blah. And so I was the guy that was selected to do that, and then they just went with radio campaign voiceovers, and so I just became the voice.
So you were going to go out there and be...
I auditioned in their uniform and everything. Yeah.
Wow. With the red hair? Did you put the red hair on?
Well, yeah, they only had red hair, so I had to do it with red hair. But yeah. I mean, I was doing commercials. Because I spoke Spanish, and it was a generic Spanish, and my English was very good. I could do both campaigns, so that they would like hiring me, because I was able to, they got 2 for 1.
2 birds and 1 stone.
Yeah, because I was able to do it. And I was shooting the commercials in Spanish and shooting them in English as well.
Right there on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, McDonald's did that a lot. We did that with Taco Bell. It was interesting, the work, because it gave me a chance to sort of figure out how I was going to shoot movies down the road, which I didn't really notice that. But I was always like, when the director yelled cut, I was always over by the DP, and then we're sitting there talking about the shot and the lighting, and he's telling me how he does it and sets it up, and I'm like, oh, interesting. I didn't know why I was learning it, but I was interested.
That's very
because you get bored.
Yeah, but it's very telling too, because a lot of actors and stuff, they don't do that.
Yeah,
they usually whenever I remember working on set when I was in my early 20s, and wherever you gravitated towards, like there would be guys like well, we were working for free at the time. We were production assistants, but some people would gravitate towards sound. Some people would gravitate towards the director, the camera guy. I always went behind the director.
Did you?
I wanted to know exactly what he was doing and like why he was doing it.
Me too.
Yeah. I don't know if that has a lot to say about personality, but
well,
I'd hope
probably
so.
a leader, not a follower.
Yeah, exactly. So you had all of this stuff before military classified. Why military classified? Where were you, and why did you say, hey, you know what? I can do this.
Interesting. I never asked myself if I could do it. I just did it. I think when you're obsessed with something, and that's what I was obsessed, I think, and that's where passion comes in, I think, for anything that you do. If you don't have a passion for it, then you won't work as hard. So I was obsessed and passionate about it without really knowing it, because I was just obsessed with straight men, especially military. That I was fascinated by it. My father, is a first generation immigrant from Ecuador. So he brought us here to learn the American culture. He appreciated being a citizen. He loved war movies, so we would always go, and that's kind of how I developed this affinity for the military, respect and all that business. But so that became less when I became older. And so that's, my whole focus was kind of that. And in the background, of my regular life. So I had these two lives going on back then. It's interesting.
Your relationship with porn, right? So you didn't fetishize military guys, right? Or was it just like you were attracted to them?
I was
Okay.
I was attracted to the idea of getting them.
Okay.
Because there's many attractive gay guys in the world, but I would never choose him. I would always want to choose the straight guy.
Yeah.
Why? I've got doctors trying to figure that out.
It was a challenge, right?
Well, yeah, I think that worked for a few years. I'm trying to figure out.
You're still okay. You're still trying to figure it out.
What's going on now? I ask myself that a lot. So yeah, but I think the passion. If you have the passion for it, then all the work is. I found it easy. Mm-hmm. I found it very easy to spend 15, 16 hours in a day developing the website, not even knowing how to develop a website.
Holy crap! Yeah, that's a good thing to come up. You developed a website in 2004. How different does it look from what it looks like now?
Oh, the pages took like 1 minute and 30 seconds to load.
Oh God! Because of all the video and all the.
Oh yeah, and plus you were on a AOL connection, so go.
Yeah, the dial up. You really had to wait for your port at that point.
You had to wait it.
Yeah.
And so, and movies were this big. It was like, 240 by 280 or 340, but it was like this incredible. And you had to have it in 4 parts because the files were too big. So you had to have part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4.
Damn, and you're just getting there in part 1. You got to switch to part 2.
I didn't know all that shit. And so, excuse me. I just went to one of my models who knew about web design, and he said, I'll do it for you. So I paid him, and when he got it, it loaded, the minute and 30 seconds was the fastest I could get this website. And I said that we can't do this. I had good content, I felt. It's just I needed that medium. I wanted it to load quick. Mm-hmm. And then I met someone else through Craigslist that I ended up going out on a date with. And he turned out to be like the smartest man in the world, computer wise, because he like ran computers for the state of Utah or something, or Idaho or something.
So he had time.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's after my ass. I know he was.
Yeah.
So anyway, we laugh about it now though. He's still with me. So he took the website and he goes, dude, I can make this thing load. Well, back then they weren't using dude, but he was like, I can make this load in 10 seconds. I said, what? He goes, oh yeah. You got to knock this out. He says, and I said, well, and he says, I'll do it for free as a Valentine's Day gift.
Oh.
He's going to do it.
Oh yeah, he totally wanted to. He was totally coming after you.
And I'm like, no. I said, I'm going to pay you. I said, so tell me, So it was obviously at a bargain, and he did, and so he has been the guy ever since. So he's my go-to guy if I need to
anything on
anything that has to do with the internet, computers, production-wise, creation-wise, and all that business. Although I know a lot of post-production as well now, but
yeah, and you got all the equipment.
Yeah. I try to get it from multiple angles, so that. I try to keep the model's eyes always in the shot. That to me is kind of important. So if the connection is always there with the viewer, then the viewer is going to stay more connected to the model, I think. And they just, they kind of hang on longer.
You have an attraction to military men, straight military men, but what about your porn when you were growing up, or when you started seeing porn? What kind of porn was it? What was your relationship with porn?
Oh. Well, I was looking for that. So I discovered Bobby Garcia. I knew Dirk Yates. These were all people that VHS tapes was all you could get at that back then. And you would go to the adult bookstore itself, and there's a section with a curtain. You go back, and that's where you chose your movies. So I would go back there, and it was like a shelf of Bobby. So I was like, who is this dude? He's like a 40-year-old overweight Filipino guy, and he's landing these beautiful straight men, these Marines, and they're straight. You could tell. I mean, you could just tell. I was flabbergasted, and I couldn't figure out why I was so obsessed, but I knew I was more obsessed with the process of what he was doing. And so I rented all of them. They were all good. And then he led me to Dirk Yates, and then from Dirk Yates, I thought to myself, I don't know if you ever heard Dirk Yates interview models.
No, I have not. I did see some of the Bobby. Really? Okay.
So what's your name?
So I shouldn't.
Okay. I shouldn't say that. No. I shouldn't say that. He's like 80 now. So I mean, I hope he's still. Is he still alive?
I will find out. Okay. I will tell you that. I was going to look up Bobby Garcia and look up Dirk Yates just to see what they're doing.
Bobby. Oh, I would be surprised if he's around.
Yeah.
Well, although because he used to lie to the Marines. He would lie to them and say that girls were going to be involved, and he'd offer them the money and hope that was suffice. And
so he was catfishing before.
Sometimes you even caught it on, you catch it on tape. So I was like, oh, what did he say? Trying to catch the conversation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know he's been beat up a few times, and, they burned down a portion of his house or something.
Really? Jesus.
John Waters wrote a book on the 10 most influential people in his life. The Queen and Bobby Garcia was a chapter.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
So I read it. And so John Waters explains it pretty interesting, what happened to Bobby post his career. Some people, I think he sold his archives to a company in the United Kingdom for $1 million. I think he sold it, and then blew it all.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
It's a sad ending, but
okay.
But I said that ain't gonna be me.
Yeah. You had your aha moment with Bobby Garcia. Bobby Garcia, as you said off camera too, and I want to get it on camera.
Sure.
That he did everything on VHS.
Yeah.
And didn't transfer or didn't translate to digital, to the digital world. So then what did you say at that point?
That was sort of my aha sort of moment for a website, because to that point I was just like, mostly just obsessed with paying them and having sex with them. And then I started taping them, but I didn't know why. I honestly had no, unless it was a premonition, I don't know, but I began taping them and paying them. And logging this. I logged like 70 movies before I launched.
So you did it before you even had a website?
Yeah.
So was it for you?
Well, I was paying for it. I don't know how,
Did you watch it to get off?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I always have watched my movies only to get off.
Yeah. So you're your biggest fan in a way.
I used to be a big, XNXX and
Okay.
Pornhub, but no, man, it's my stuff that I go to. Isn't that weird? But yeah.
No, I don't think it is, because if you are that involved and know like the camera, like the eyes, the minute you said the eyes, I was like, all right, so yeah, he wants to see that. You like every single twitch, every look down, every the breath work, everything changes.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, everything changes.
It does. It does.
Where did you get the name Military Classified?
I was all about the covert thing back then. I think I was more obsessed with people finding out. I was more obsessed with getting beat up by a Marine because I was very bold. I don't know why I was fearless, but I always was sensible, and I was a good talker, and I was able to, always negotiate. And so straight guys, if approached the right way, are quite negotiable. I found. So, that's kind of how I would kind of get their confidence. And so that it works. It's always worked for me. So it's always been a part of my solicitation process. Mm-hmm. I just know what to say to them to get them. Trust is the big thing. If you can get the guy to trust you, the straight guy to trust you, then you're probably going to be able to get in his pants.
And there's no malice when you, because I did see, because I read some comments and stuff, and then someone said something like, oh, well, he's grooming a lot of straight guys and all that stuff. There's like, your intention is not harm.
No,
it's sexual.
Very.
And these guys they're going to get into a sexual transaction if they agree.
Well, yes, it's business. Absolutely. Yeah. It's become that more so now than ever before. So, my excitement of doing it, although it's still there, there's so many other things that are now involved that I'm not in that same space. So, back then I was more into, and I don't know if maybe the movies back then were better than the movies these days, where, I was more focused on the model and less focused on everything, as opposed to, post 2010 where everything changed. I went 4 cameras and lights and
it got bigger. It got bigger.
Yeah.
Where do you find your guys? Like, where did when you started? And you said before you started the website, you would go and hang out in certain locations where you would think they'd be.
Yeah. I would go to Oceanside, which is actually not far from Laguna Beach, is where we're at now. So the military base is 20 minutes away. Okay. The north end of it. And then Oceanside is the next city over, and there's bars, there's an adult bookstore, there was movie booths in the back. So I would like sit there and get there about 1:30 and catch the Marines, coming out drunk from the bar, and they're walking to the adult bookstore to get, I don't know. I would just stop them and I would just say, hey, you want to get your dick sucked and make $100? Who? What, a chick? What? No, man, me. Just go into the booth. I'll follow you. I'll follow you in there, and then once I'm done, I'll even give you the money. I'll give it to them ahead of time. I give it to them first, and then
Were they in uniform?
No.
Okay.
Well, it depends. Some do go to the bars. From work they'll go right to the bars, but a lot of them like to get all gussied up and fancy.
And you can tell. You knew.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You can always tell a Marine because he dresses very. I don't want to use the name conservative. I would call it conservative. Like acid wash jeans were popular back then. So every freaking Marine had acid wash jeans. So, it was just 20 years back and delayed, but they're still hot. Yeah. Their bodies and everything about them. I think it's the naivety that I get lured in by.
Did they have a certain look in the beginning? Yeah. Like for you?
For me, yeah. I think I Yeah, certain Marines were preferred. I was very much into the Nordic blonde hair, blue eyed thing. Opposites attract, I guess. Without really knowing that was what I was attracted to.
Like the country boys and
the very conservative, the naive ones.
Okay,
that's
first time leaving their
which is the military. You know, is a plethora of conservative USA. Very different than Orange County, because Orange County, if you just come up here, you get a whole different vibe of straight guy. They're conservative. They the military doesn't pay very much, so money talks to them quicker, and they're more logical about things. They're less dramatic. It's good.
Going there before casting for the website.
Yeah. Craigslist, by the way, Craigslist.
Craigslist was the casting?
That was my main source.
I'm assuming you had a good experience there in order to be confident enough to put your ads up and make sure that you're talking to.
I never put ads.
Oh, you didn't put ads?
No, back then I didn't. I just responded to men seeking women. That's the only way I could assure myself that these guys were straight.
Oh,
so
okay.
I would only respond to men seeking women ads. And if they talked about sex and wanting to get laid, then I knew that was an easier target. If I saw a Mormon, I would still be challenged and respond anyway, and see if I can lure him in.
Yeah.
Or whatever you get, you cater the situation, and that's kind of how I did it. So I was like looking at the ads, reading them, and then deducing what they wanted, and then from there.
And those ads had pictures at that point too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm remembering that with before they took that away on Craigslist.
Yeah, it was a very good tool. I used it for several years, I would say. That was my main source of solicitation, which is why I think a lot of the models were unique, and they weren't like, from the talent agency or doing the rounds the way they do now. So back then they weren't looking at making porn careers. They were just Marines, just
quick buck here and there.
Quick buck here.
Quick suck. Quick suck and buck.
Simple enough.
How much, this is a question you kind of answered a little bit, but how much psychology goes into talking to these Marines, and how hard is it to make these guys feel comfortable when they're here?
Beer helps.
Beer helps.
Alcohol. So something to break the tension, I think, always makes it. And I always am the one speaking. I know that when there's silence between strangers, it makes people uncomfortable. So if there's no silence and someone sounds like they know what they're doing and what they're saying in the situation at hand, maybe that's it. I take control of the situation immediately, and they feel comfortable with that because it's not, it's not a threat. I don't come at them, immediately wanting to get in their pants. It's a conversation, it's a beer, and, it leads there. Mm-hmm. That was the way it used to be. Now, straight guys are way more confident, I think, with their sexuality. Everyone, their cousin's gay, their second cousin's, so it's a part of their lives more. So they're not so put off by it. So it makes my work easier.
But they also have to have come across your website at some point.
Oh yeah, some have, and they immediately they're either turned off by it or they're intrigued by it. That's usually what I get.
Do you have a casting on your website?
No, I don't solicit from the website, only because it's harder to find straight guys there.
Okay,
because mostly I get the subscribers are gay and they're women, and I don't know how many straight guys would go there, but curious straight guys have gone there, because I have gotten emails from there saying, I know this is strange, but I'm straight. I'm actually straight, and I saw the way you suck dick, and
I'm interested. Sign me up.
And your pay on top of it. Why not?
Yeah.
And that's how easy sometimes it was to get the models.
Yeah. Damn. What's your relationship with your guys after you work with them?
Well, I've kept in touch with a few of them. Mm-hmm. Not very many. Like I've kept in touch with Pennington. I've kept in touch with Simon. I've kept in touch with Cash. I've kept in touch with Jacob. I've kept in touch with. It's a lot.
Yeah. But
at different stages over 15 years.
2 of the models that you've had on the website have passed.
Oh yeah.
And you were aware of it.
Yep.
And for an extensive back catalog, that takes like knowing,
right.
And you've had models come back on.
Yeah.
So
after years of break, they've come back and done work.
Yeah. So it takes a relationship. It's a relationship.
That's true. I think it's the sexual connection or the pleasure, I guess, that I brought them. And the process was a pleasant process. So it involved money. It was pleasant. You're extremely good. For some reason, 4 or 5 years down the road, they're texting me saying, "Hey, you still around? Are you still doing this?"
Yeah.
And it goes from there. So I mean, I'll be contacted by someone every 6 months, probably somebody that I haven't heard from in years. That just I don't know. Maybe they're watching a video and saw it and thought my number hasn't changed.
Yeah.
In 20 years. So
there's only one model that I've seen on your website that actually went on to start doing porn, like gay porn.
Who?
Drake.
Oh, yeah.
Who is now doing porn
Yes,
for a different company.
Yes.
Do you find, does that happen a lot, or was that a
It's
fluke?
happening more.
Okay.
It's happening more and more now with the younger guys, because the younger straight guys are, using Twitter and OnlyFans kind of like, swords. And so, and if you're not being, a logical business person about it, then, you're not going to do much business. So, they're a little more, I don't know, they get a few thousand likes and followers, and then they get a little, some very, very few though. Most of my experiences have been just guys humble to make a buck, man.
And just not be about that life.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's becoming more like kids like Drake that see it more as a career and want to monetize it, which is smart, very smart. And he's got a good business sense for his age. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did well.
Yeah, I know. I think he's holding his own. So one of the things that we talked about,
I made him very nervous, though.
You did?
I did.
Oh, well, he came
Well,
back.
we shot, yeah.
He came back a couple
true.
times.
That's true. That's true.
So he wasn't that nervous.
That's true.
Before we came in and we were setting up, I wanted to ask about production, right? So from the get, you have been like a one-man show, one-man production.
Yeah.
And I asked if that was your choice or because it's comforting for the guys.
Both, really. I mean, I definitely wanted to make the environment for the guys I was shooting with more me and the guy, and not a whole crew and people in the room, because then I don't know, it would make me feel less comfortable, and I would be less expressive, I think, if I'm concerned about what everyone else in the room is thinking of what I'm doing, and they're watching me. That's even worse. So that's why I thought I'll do it myself. I just go make an adjustment to the camera, and then in post I can get rid of it and make it seamless, and that's what I did. So I just began doing it by myself. But I was so enthralled by the editing process, the post-production process, learning it. I love learning, so I wanted to learn how to edit. So I just bought the program and, went to YouTube, started watching videos, and then applied a lot of the things that I already knew from what I did from acting, and applied it to the videos, how to shoot them, angles, etc. And so from there, it just developed into, well, shoot, I'm doing the accounting, I'm doing the post-production, I'm shooting the stuff, I'm the booking agent, because, these guys are coming from, now that I'm using a source I'm now soliciting from all over the United States. I was mainly just soliciting from Camp Pendleton in the area, so guys didn't travel very far. But now, I got to do airfare and accommodations and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Shooting schedules, shooting itinerary.
Yeah.
So I would love to get an assistant, I would love to just work less. If I could work less, I'd be happy.
And you can work here. Yeah. I can only imagine, because it's a 3-camera setup, you said, right? 4 camera setup. What is that? What does your editing process look like? It's got to be, because you got to layer the sequences and stuff.
The files are big, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, Final Cut Pro, which is the program I use, is a wonderful software to make it easy to learn this process. Because, you're dropping things in, you're moving things, clicking. It's very simple, and you're literally clicking on 4 different camera views. So you've got all 4 of the cameras running simultaneously because you sync them up. And then all you're doing is camera 1, camera 4, camera 2, camera 3. Boom, boom, boom.
So you're like a broadcast editor, because that's what they,
that's what they do.
Yeah,
that's what they do. So that's what I'm doing based on, just what I feel the timing should be. I think a cross dissolve should go there. I think, maybe something else should go here. I think when you're changing the mood or changing the position, then that requires a different transition than if you're just moving from his head to his leg,
I only have a couple more questions. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time.
Actually, I like being quizzed about all this stuff.
Yeah, no, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think
didn't know
that
I
the
was so
listeners
technical. I didn't think I was so technical about it.
It's all in there, and then you don't remember until you're asked to kind of walk through it.
Yeah.
When you're here, when you have a guy here, when you're ready to shoot, what do your production schedules look like? When you're on a shoot day, from the moment they get in to the moment they leave?
Well, it's a process. I think if it's a new person, it's a longer process, because you're showing them how to do the contracts, you're explaining it to them, you're getting all their IDs photographed and stuff. So there's a little process there. And then I shoot digital stills beforehand. So it's almost like a photo shoot, a digital photo shoot that goes on, takes his clothes on and off. And so he has to get himself hard there. Then we come up and we shoot the movie. So it usually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I shoot about an hour's worth of raw footage, and then from 4 different camera views, and that gets whittled down to about 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
You said you have mastered the art of, well, you didn't say this. I think you have, but and I think you'll agree.
Uh-oh.
You've mastered the art of the blowjob.
Oh, God, yeah.
And okay, good. At least you're modest.
That sounded kind of pompous, huh?
No, please don't worry. Please,
no.
Oh, come on, own it.
Well, I mean,
you have to own that.
Okay.
This is what you do. You're good.
Yeah, right.
But you do bottom. You do bottom.
Yes.
However, you're not a big fan of bottom.
No, I wouldn't say I'm. And I think my fans know it. Because I get some flack from some of the fans that will say, get someone who knows what they're doing, or if someone comes in there that like TJ and just takes over, then I just put them with everyone. And I did that with a few guys. I got one guy right now, Jordy. He's really popular as a bottom, so I'm just using him as a bottom.
Okay.
So that alleviates me of it. But
from that, okay.
But if it's a one-on-one, a new guy, then I usually end up bottoming for that one. Because it's just it's a process that I do to make it comfortable for them. Because no straight guy who's never done that before, it's kind of hard for them to say, okay, let me stand here and stick my dick in your ass. So I do all of it.
Yeah.
And they just sit there, so it makes it easier for them to get to that scene. Then from there, then they can graduate to something a little more. And that's
good way to put it, because they do move into, when they come back, they do start, they get up, they actually do some work.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first time it's like they shoot 4 movies with me, and they're basically treated like, pampered kings.
Yeah.
And then, if they come back, then I'll put them with other models, and then that's where the work starts.
But do you like that? Do you get off on that? Like the fact that you're pampering them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I'm still that way with new ones and certain ones. But it's become more work. So I would rather not have the cameras rolling in and have that kind of fun now.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to.
Yeah, that's a good question. What is your love life or sex life look like off of camera?
Oh, gosh. Well, non-existent currently. But I never looked for it while I was working. So in other words, I had like 6 relationships up until just before I launched. And then I ended it with that person, and then just went into this work thinking, you know what, I'm going to be on the internet for the whole world to see. Back then it was much more iffy, risky, because no one knew that the internet was going to be as popular as it was. So you just didn't know. And so I did it anyway. And here we are.
Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are. So yeah, I mean, I did a lot of things that were risks. I look back on now and I think, damn, that was pretty damn ballsy. But I didn't have anything to lose. I didn't have any. I scraped $25,000 together to
launch.
Yeah. And it was either that or a condo. So I went with it, and glad I did.
Yeah.
Because my first year, I mean, I was never in the red. Never. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. I mean, I used to always say, like, that person has 70s money or 80s money. I mean, early internet money is pretty good.
It's pretty good because there wasn't a lot of competition.
Yeah.
So you weren't sharing the pie as much as you are now.
Well, how do you feel about that now? How do we, like, when it comes to work now? Because you call it work now. It used to be fun, or, you still have fun, right?
Yeah. You got to adapt, You do have to adapt.
Promoting and doing stuff now in the world of TikTok, a new generation, Instagram.
Yep.
Your Insta, you have an Insta,
of course.
Yeah, you have to have
I
all
troll
that
on
stuff. You've gotten applicants from TikTok.
Yeah.
I
just hired someone who was a TikToker. Cute, the military guy, just gorgeous. And then what happens is I go from there, and usually when you go to their profile, they'll have a link to their Instagram. So I go to their Instagram, and that's where I leave them the message. I don't leave it on TikTok because they've already banned me from leaving messages on people because I was leaving these messages on their message board, and obviously it wasn't probably the right thing to do. But anyway, so now I just sidestep it and go to their Instagram, and that's where the interest came from. This guy that I just hired. And so he's got a nice TikTok following. So self promoter. So a lot of these guys are on TikTok.
Yeah,
straight guys. They understand the whole
what was that?
Gay for pay.
Okay, so that interaction is
easier.
He knew.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they understand it a little more because they have these gay followers that want to subscribe to their fans. They want to see them naked and want to see their feet and want to see their hand, blah, blah, blah. And so they get it, they figure it out, and they become more self-monetizing. And that's the kind of TikToker that I hired, although he's very conservative, military. So everything about it's perfect.
And
straight.
That's the kind of models you are dealing with now.
Yes.
Okay. That's the kind of, would you say that's how it changed most when it comes to the guys that are on the site?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're much more reciprocal. So I don't know. The comfort zone has expanded.
Sure, I'll eat your ass.
From 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Never would have had that happen. Never would have had that happen. Here sometimes I just do it just to see if they'll do it, and they go for it. I don't, that wasn't even talked about before. So it's just, it's what you do at the moment. And so they have definitely become much more comfortable with themselves is what I call it, in their own sexuality, that they can do those things and not go, oh God, oh, I'm gay, now I'm gay,
I have, like I said, just a couple more questions, but I noticed that, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you too. So I consider a lot of studios in Hollywood big porn.
Yeah.
But you are.
I'm the biggest boutique.
You are, yeah, but you don't really associate much. Is that by choice?
You're right. That is by choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need that validation.
Awesome.
I don't need that validation at all. I mean, I do. My big concern are my viewers. That's my concern, and I've always been in touch with what they want. They like my choices, so I try to give them the best reaction possible, and I've been doing it for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to be sitting in the same seat that Bobby Garcia was sitting in, 20, 30 years ago, to be able to sit here and say, now you're you're a leader in your, gay for pay thing, which became a genre.
Yeah.
$1 billion genre. So, it's a market.
Mm-hmm.
It's now a market. So it's interesting that we've come full circle to this.
When they when they come around, if they do, like studios or magazines or even me, like, how does it feel when someone's, it's not necessarily prying, just interest, curious. Like I was curious. How does that feel? Are you standoffish about it at first, or are you open to like?
I think it's part of getting to know their fans, getting to know you.
Okay.
I feel that they should get to know me. So, the best way to do that is through interviews, through, like the podcast I did. Mm-hmm. I have a director. This guy did a movie for Jackass Productions, one of their movies. He also did another documentary, just this wild documentaries that he's doing. And so he got a hold of my website. It's been following me for a couple of years now. And he came and interviewed me too. Did a whole, I did an interview on this magazine called Animals.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So he got that. He got this little documentary thing that he shot with me. Because at the time I was living in my house up on the hill, and it was a sprawl. And so I was like the big porn producer with the big house, and everyone was impressed with me. It was funny. But yeah, that's how he got to know me. And so I've come so full circle from that to just really being concerned about the work I do, and am I keeping my fans happy, and am I improving every year, which I have been. My pandemic numbers are through the roof, crazy. So I'm excited, about that. It revives me to continue. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what's going on. I'm 62, so
you're still doing it.
What am I gonna, I don't know.
This is usually the part where I ask, if people want to find you, where do they go? But people know where to go for you.
Yeah.
Right? Is there anything that...
I think.
Yeah. Well, just in case.
My Twitter is at mclassified. My Instagram is at mclassified. The website, of course, is the mobile site. Actually, we're in the middle of a relaunch. So in other words, it's not going to be like a hard, on this day, boom. But things will be changed on the mobile platform within the next 6 months. So you're going to see big improvements on the design.
Oh, okay. So slowly.
Yeah, you're going to see it nice and slow. although parts of it will probably change, and it's going to be something completely different.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
How do people react
Well,
with that? Like your subs, your subscribers and stuff.
they well, I don't know. I think they'll like it.
Yeah,
I think because I think my focus was mostly on the desktop platform.
Okay.
So my design was really focused on that view.
Okay.
So now it's just been focused on the phone, and my viewer that is now younger is very phone flip efficient. So then if TikTok can be this phone, porn can be this efficient as well. So what if I had my porn like TikTok and I could just flip up and down?
Oh, okay.
To models. Flip
Ooh,
flip
very
to the
nice.
right,
Yeah.
Flip to the right, get their photos, flip to the left, get the story, and just
Very good.
it
Very
collects
good
all your
idea.
favorites. It puts them first. It's an algorithm that will figure out who your favorites, who you stay on long with, so it's a good way to focus the content to the viewer. So it's very different from the website now, a porn site now, where you go to a home page, a menu, and this is going to be very, very TikTok-y. So if you know TikTok, you'll be able to navigate my website.
Very nice. Shoot, that's a big.
It's a big
upgrade.
well, it's a nice upgrade.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not going to do any more upgrades to it. That's it, man.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm winding that sucker down. If I don't sell it, probably within the next 5 years, probably or so.
Okay.
So I may wind it down. Who knows? I don't.
Yeah. Well, there's
If
plenty
there's-
of time to think about it.
Yeah.
Rob Navarro, I have to absolutely thank you for your time.
No,
This is
thank
great.
you. I'm pleased that you got good stuff. You look happy, so I'm.
I am. No, I'm very happy. Well, I've been happy since I got here. It's just, it's fun. It's fun to talk to other creators and to see how you do stuff, how you approach your production.
Now I'm gonna ask you. Now I'm gonna ask the interviewer. How is your perception of me now that you've met me, as opposed to what you thought your perception was before you met me?
Well, our conversation was predominantly Twitter. So I tend to have, I know they get a little, they tend to be a little dry on Twitter, because but the minute, and I never take that into, I never do. I never judge on that. My thing, the minute I see you and kind of like you, boom, once you have eye contact, I'm like, okay, this is a good guy. I mean, granted, I've seen you on your site. You're very approachable. And once I heard you talk yesterday, I was almost like, oh boy, this guy's, he knows what he's doing, and he's way much more like, I don't even know if I need to go. I was like, this is covering everything. But then there were questions that I wanted to ask. Thank you so much for doing this, giving me the opportunity to come in here into your studio. This is an iconic studio at this point. It's an iconic space. Absolutely. Like, people recognize it. Guys, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. You can find us on any podcast directory, on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Rob Navarro from Military Classified. Ay que grande. If you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off, and so has this gentleman. Absolutely. For over, 15, 20 years. Jeez. Amen to that. Cheers. Oof.